The first lick we're going to do is going to start off on the third string on the 9th fret. It's the B note, and the next note is going to be a C, and the next note is going to be a D. So we're going to repeat this twice. So it's going to go. Now it's very simple, but put that to a metronome and continue to repeat it and get it up nice and even, and see just how fast you can get it. Don't rush into it too fast. But the thing that you should remember is that it's going to start on a downstroke, so it's going to go down, up, down. But when you go to repeat that for the second time, it's going to start with an upstroke. Up, down, up. So the pattern goes down, up, down, up, down, up. So just keep in mind that you should be very aware of what your picking hand is doing. The next pattern is going to be very similar, only I'm going to start on the B note and go up to the second string, or excuse me, the 4th string, but with the same pattern. The thing about this one is you also remember again that it starts on a downstroke, and on the second string it's going to begin with an upstroke. This is very important because you want to be mentally aware of where your picking hand is going, because it'll help you a lot when you're practicing these exercises. Now, when you practice these on these different octaves, you'll notice that it's much more different, because when I play it, I feel so comfortable in the middle. But that changes slightly as you move to the thicker and thinner strings. So when you're up here on the thicker strings, you'll notice that you feel a little bit more tension, and it's probably a little bit more difficult to feel it. So what I do is I like to bring my pick just a little bit backwards toward the bridge, just because it'll increase the tension of the strings. It'll make it easier for your picking hand to really get into them. The other important thing to remember is just to make sure that your strokes are as small as possible. So when you're practicing these simple licks, just concentrate on making them as clear as possible and as firm as possible, and watch your hand and just see how much space there is between strokes, because it's very important to just keep them as small as possible, and that's going to help your speed in the future. So once again, you move your pick backwards just slightly and isolate the patterns, just so you can work on them more thoroughly instead of moving up and down them all at once, like so. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just more important for you to isolate the patterns. I want to talk a little bit more about the left hand now, just because even though your picking hand might be able to move fast, your left hand is going to be left out. So I'm going to show you another pattern, and this is a grouping of 6 and 4. So I'll count as I play the notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that, of course, is a repeating pattern. Now, as you're doing this, when you're playing it slowly, take it to a metronome and get into a comfortable speed. But as you're playing it slowly, this is kind of the weird part, move your fingers to the note as fast as possible. So what this is you're creating more articulation by getting more note and less space between the note, and it's called transition time. So I hear that in a lot of young players, where they'll be playing fast, and even though they have the right tempo and they're getting up to speed, it still sounds very choppy. And the reason for that is just because of this mechanic. If you lessen the space in between the notes, you can play it at reasonable speeds. It'll still sound much smoother and much more articulate than a lot of players. So to show you a little bit of this, just so you can see, I'm not going to be playing it fast, but my fingers are going to be moving to the notes as fast as possible. So here it goes. So I'm just going to do one more pattern. This one's going to be a grouping of 5. And after this I'm going to cover all the ones that I've gone through. So the notes go as follows: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's up 3, down 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So that's I believe the 4th or 5th one. I'm not sure. The first one is going to be the grouping of 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then the next one, that's another grouping of 6. 4, 5, 6. And then the next one is the third one. And of course the one I just showed you, number 4. So now I'm going to play a lick using as many of these as I can. And maybe I'll throw in an extra couple notes and different patterns that you can follow up. So here's that lick slow.